Hello there and welcome to my Gran Turismo 5 video review. My name's Stephen Student Embling, and it's been a long time since the previous Gran Turismo game. GT4 was released in March 2005, and I think it's fair to say since then sim racing's moved up a gear, so Gran Turismo 5 has quite a lot to live up to, so let's get straight into it. One of the biggest strengths of the GT games has always been the amount of cars included, and GT5 continues to push the envelope even further with now over 1,000 cars. The total I've read to be 1,031, and that's very impressive. Previously, something that's been criticised is not having brands like Ferrari and Lamborghini in there, but I can assure you both those make an appearance, along with classics like the McLaren F1 and a whole ton of race cars, including NASCAR and rally cars, which is really cool. Obviously there's no shortage of road cars either, with perhaps a slight bias to, well, quite a strong bias I would say, to Japanese cars, but most of cars from around the world are fairly well represented. Strangely, you've got a few gaps, which is a bit curious. Bizarrely, Porsche didn't make it in again. You have got Rough in there, but not Porsche, which is a bit of a disappointment to some, I'm sure. No Koenigseggs, which is a bit odd. No Radical. And then when we get to sort of smaller hot hatches and stuff, the Alfa Romeo Mito, which I drive, sadly didn't make it in the game, and neither did the VW Scirocco, which is a bit surprising because I thought that's quite a popular car. Annoyingly also, the Top Gear reasonably priced cars, the Suzuki Liana, and now they use the Kia Ceed. Neither of them are in the game, which could be a bit of a missed opportunity considering the Top Gear test track is in the game. Also, another thing that's a little bit bizarre is, although there are quite a few Ferraris in there, there's actually a few obvious ones missing, like the Ferrari FXX, the 599 GTO, the classic 355 and the 360, and even the F50 doesn't make an appearance. Also, no TVR Sagaris or Lotus Exige, and no Bentley road cars either. But despite a few gaps here and there are some, you'd be surprised how many gaps that you can find with 1,000 cars. All the same, it's a great selection of cars, and despite my ramblings here, you'll find plenty of cars you'll want to drive. It's really a very richly populated game with cars. There's two types of car in the game. One's called Premium and one's called Standard. The main difference is just the sheer quality of the premium cars. They've used like 200,000 polygons or something daft, a really high amount. It's very richly detailed. The standard cars themselves aren't bad quality at all. They're better than what you'd find in a lot of sims, but sadly they have no cockpit view. All the premiums have a very detailed cockpit view, but sadly not for the standard cars. Now for me that means I just plain won't use the cockpit view in any of the cars, so it's a bit wasted for me. Other people will probably enjoy the cockpit view quite a lot, but will just get frustrated when they come to using the standard cars and probably avoid them. As it happens, 800 of the cars or so are actually standard and only 200 premium. Having said that though, you can probably go through the game without ever using a standard car. A cool customization feature with premium cars is the ability to change the wheels. There's quite a few cool wheel designs in there, and you can even change the colour of the wheels, which is pretty cool. Sadly this option isn't available for standard cars, which perhaps gives some players a good reason to avoid standard cars altogether if they're into the customization side of things. Another thing which has always been really strong in Gran Turismo games right from the start is the tracks, and Gran Turismo 5, again, brilliant with the tracks. You've got over 40 tracks in total, and then on top of those 40 you actually got different weather conditions, which it classes as separate tracks. It's just the way it works. And you've also got reverse combinations of these tracks on a lot of these fictional tracks, so in total there's over 70 if you include both of them. But all these tracks, the great thing about them is they're all very convincing and they're all very deep. See what you like about iRacing's laser scan tracks and that, but these are all very convincing and they're very, very lifelike, which is awesome. So there's a lot of fun to be had on all these tracks. Sadly, a few of the Gran Turismo 4 tracks didn't actually make it into Gran Turismo 5. You might end up missing Midfield Raceway, Apricot Hill Speedway, Infineon, Motegi and New York, as well as some of the dirt tracks which have also gone. But new tracks include Nürburgring Formula 1 circuit, Monza, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Cape Ring and the new night track which is a special stage Route 7. Another thing to mention about the track is that you actually have a little track builder where you can make your own tracks. It's not particularly advanced, you don't actually plot the route itself, but you have a number of different variables which you can change, and it works out that you can actually create millions and millions of different tracks using these little variables, and you can make some really fascinating little tracks in there. It's really quite fun to go in there and have a play, so that also adds to the lifespan. Now the single player, or GT Life as it's called, consists of quite a few different modes. You've got obviously the good old license mode. There's 7 licenses in total and each one has 10 tests. On each test you can get gold, silver and bronze, and you get something nice for getting gold. There's also special events which are fairly similar to the old Gran Turismo games, except maybe now they feel a little bit more distinctive than in previous titles. You've got A-Spec mode, which is where most of the races are. You've also got a level up system where it rewards you for doing particularly well, and it's generally this level up system which is your progress meter in a way, and cars become available to buy as you level up. There's also B-spec mode. Of course, B-spec mode is the team boss kind of manager experience. Now you can actually control up to 6 cars at once. It's much improved from Gran Turismo 4, and yes, the B-spec drivers now can actually overtake, which is a big relief, because in GT4 they just couldn't overtake for toughies, so it's good to see they've improved that. The key thing is really with B-spec is that there's all these different factors that play into it. The physical strength, the mental strength and the temperament of the drivers affects the way they drive, and obviously your commands have side effects on those elements, but putting pressure on the cars in front can also sort of slow them down or make them make mistakes, so it's a much deeper experience than it has been in the past. The graphics are simply supreme, and dare I say it, some of the very best out there. You could say it's an excellent advert for HD TVs. What's most impressive, however, is that it manages to keep a smooth 60 frames per second, despite the various weather effects and day and night transitions. The sound is also sensational, with each car having its own engine sounds, painstakingly recreated. Something else that's cool is just hearing the wind buffeting against your car as you reach the really high speeds. Many will be happy to know that you can now use custom soundtracks, although there is no shortage of music in the game. The handling physics is very authentic. Now you can even roll over your car. Something which has seen big improvements is the AI. There's now up to 16 cars in a race, and although they may not be the fastest, particularly in the early races, they do tend to be a lot cleaner than they used to be in previous GT titles, which I'm sure is a big relief to quite a few people. I'm still exploring the extent of the damage system. It seems like the higher you level up, the more extreme your damage gets. What I can say is that your collisions with other vehicles it seems to react quite naturally, so that's quite good. The game supports full 900-degree steering, which is good, and the force feedback is very, very natural, very responsive, and you get a good feel for what the car is doing beneath you. With the online servers yet to be activated at the time of recording, I'm unable to comment on any online features whatsoever. It's something I look forward to getting my teeth into, and I know it's a huge part of the game, I expect, but sadly I can't give any feedback on that. I'm going to give Gran Turismo 5 a 9.2. One, it's not completely perfect. It's one of those games which can really hold your attention for a long amount of time, and regardless of your background or lack of it in racing games, it's definitely something you can get into. this has been my Gran Turismo 5 review, and thank you very much for watching.